What does gutsy mean to you, my friend?
So, before I came on to today's show, I did look up the definition of gutsy. And interesting, and I don't know if you know this, back in the 1800s, early 1800s, gutsy actually meant greedy. And it meant like you had a big old gut, a big stomach. You were greedy for more, you were hungry. And then later on, in the late 1800s, gutsy actually meant that you're courageous and that you're resilient and that you had the guts to go after what you wanted. And then now the modern term is just like what you teach here on this podcast. It is being bold and brave. So, yes, for me, Wendy Valentine, in this modern era, I think gutsy means to follow your gut and to listen to that inner chat GPT and not the noise of the naysayers or society or social media or your own inner critic, like shutting that noise down, listening to your gut and trusting your gut and just being whoever the hell you want to be.
Welcome to the Gutsy Podcast, the show where you learn how to own what you actually want and shift the mind junk that's been holding you back. I'm Laura Ora, keynote speaker, coach, and your guide to help you get clarity, build confidence, and make the gutsy moves that change your life. Each week, I'm going to help you simplify things by teaching you how to get out of your head while stepping into action. This way you can achieve all those life shifts that you've been overthinking. Your desire, that drives you. But gutsy, that's what gets it done. Do you ever look around at the life you've built and think, wait, is this it? Maybe the kids are growing up, your career doesn't fit anymore, your business is evolving, or your relationships are changing. Or maybe you just have this quiet feeling that the version of you who built this life is not the same woman who's meant to build the next chapter. Sometimes this gets labeled as a midlife crisis, but what if it's actually just an invitation to do things your own way? Wendy Valentine believes that midlife isn't a crisis at all, it's a catalyst. After navigating divorce, menopause, job loss, debt, an empty nest, and a devastating personal loss all at once, she found herself on the bathroom floor wondering how she would ever rebuild her life. What happened next completely changed the way that she saw herself and what's possible. Today, we're talking about identity, reinvention, self-trust, grieving the versions of yourself that you've outgrown, and why becoming who you're meant to be often starts with letting go of who you thought you had to be. If you've been feeling like you're standing at a crossroads in your life, this episode is a reminder that your next chapter isn't behind you, it's waiting for you. Wendy is the author of Women Waking Up, the Midlife Manifesto for Passion, Purpose, and Play, creator of the Freedom at Midlife program, and host of the Midlife Makeover Show, a top-rated podcast inspiring women to embrace midlife as a powerful new beginning. After navigating all those huge changes all at once, Wendy transformed her own life and now helps women reconnect with their purpose, create joy-filled lives, and see midlife not as a crisis, but as a catalyst. So listen, if you've been getting that kind of itchy feeling, like something is unsettling, you're feeling pulled in 100 different directions, you know, this isn't it, but you're not maybe sure what it is, this episode is for you. Let's get into it. Wendy, welcome, my friend, to the Gutsy Podcast.
Laura, Ora, you've got the coolest name. Ba-ba-bum-bum.
Listen, the energy is high. We've got the boom boom stick is in the house. If you don't, this it's like this menthol stick that Wendy was like, let me do my boom boom stick, and I was like, that could go a lot of ways. So if you just want to know what the energy of today's episode is going to be like, let the last 40 seconds set the tone.
Yeah, we got the boom boom going on, folks. Okay, get ready. We're going to have a great time on the Gutsy Podcast.
Talking about crisis and catalyst and midlife and all of these fucking things that we all go through at some point in our life. And so many women before us, and maybe so many women even right now are just navigating this shit alone. We're going to change that conversation today.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in midlife.
Yeah. You had quite a moment. You had quite a scenario, rock bottom / perfect storm, divorce, menopause, job loss, debt, and empty nest
Yep.
all at the same time.
Yep. And not to sound like an old country song, but within 6 weeks, my dog died, my cat died, and then my brother died.
Oh
So
my goodness.
I
Wow.
know. Needless to say, yeah, I had panic attacks, depression. I mean, hot mess express. And that was not just because of the hot flashes.
Yeah. Yeah. So take me back to that relatable. Take me back to that era of your life when things like everything that you knew all of a sudden was gone or shifted or new to you.
Well, like you said, everything hit at once. I'm 53 now. I was about mm, 48, 49 roughly when all that was going, 47, whatever. I don't know. I'm having so much fun now, I've lost track of time. But yeah, and I remember, I think all of us women have a moment when we were like lying on the bathroom floor, bawling our eyes out and going like, oh my gosh, it's so awful. And it was awful for me. And I just remember laying there just feeling sorry for myself, thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going to be turning 50 here pretty soon. My whole life has fallen apart. And how in the world do I even rebuild it? Where do I even start? Now, most people in these moments, they'll like have this wonderful vision, like, Lord, they see God or something. Not me. I saw an RV,
Hmm.
literally an RV, a 25-foot RV, and this beautiful dream. And I thought, wow, wouldn't it be cool if I could just take off in an RV across the country? And I literally tried this dream on for size, if you will, and imagined myself driving this, diesel 25-foot black and blue sexy RV across the country and being a writer and a podcaster and doing all the things that I always dreamt about. But here's the thing. What excited me most about this RV dream, it wasn't the RV, it wasn't driving into the Sedona sunset or the cute navy blue pillows that I had planned out for my nice little couch. It was actually the woman in the driver's seat.
Hmm.
It was the woman that was happy and healthy and financially free, a woman that finally became gutsy and became her true, authentic self. That's what excited me the most about this dream. And then I snapped out of that dream. And then the voice inside my head quickly reminded me that I had no job, I had no money, and there was no way that I could actually make this dream come true. Like, who the heck did I think that I was? And then I realized that I was at a crossroads. That either A, I could take the road that's most traveled, the road that of the woman that I had been in my past, or I could choose a new road and a new woman, the woman that was sitting in that driver's seat, right? And I'll admit, staying stuck actually felt safe because it was predictable. Like I knew at that point in my life, I knew how to do depression. I knew how to go through my chronic illnesses and the panic attacks and the anxiety. I knew how to manage it. Although uncomfortable, it was oddly comfortable. And then this other road that I could choose, the one where I could become this happy, healthy woman in this RV, following her dreams and really living up to her full potential. It was a scary thought and a scary dream, but it actually gave me hope.
Hmm.
Like it was something I was like, oh, that could be really cool if I could actually make this happen. And then I thought, well, why not? Like either road that I take, it would require a ton of effort. Either one. So I thought, well, if I'm going to have to work my ass off, I might as well choose the road less traveled, the road that would lead to that awesome, amazing, extraordinary woman in that driver's seat actually following her dreams. And that's what I chose. Thank God. Otherwise, I would not be sitting here in front of you, Laura Ora, on the Gutsy podcast.
Yeah. Listen, I am obsessed with that kind of pivotal point,
Oh, I love it.
especially when you realize that it's going to take work either way.
Yeah.
I talk about that a lot with my
Yeah.
clients and here on the podcast because it's like you're going to have to do something. You might as well do the something that gets you to the thing that you want. You're going to be
Yeah.
uncomfortable either way. You might as well embrace the discomfort that gets you what you want. Because
Yeah.
otherwise you're just staying in the same loop that you are having this realization moment of, hey, this isn't working and maybe it never really worked for me,
Right.
but now I'm going to choose to do something about it.
I don't know if you're a Seinfeld fan, but if you remember George Costanza when he did Opposite Day, because he was like, nothing's worked out for me. Let me just do the opposite. And I was like, that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to do the opposite. And it started with my thoughts. Like I said before, like my inner critic was ready to go ahead and beat me down and beat my dreams down before I even started.
Yeah.
And I realized it was my thoughts. It was my inner critic. And your mind will either be your best friend or your worst enemy. And you get to decide. And I think that was so empowering to me when I realized that in that moment. I was like, "Oh, if I want to be a control freak, then I can control my mind and I can design whoever I want to be, not who society and friends want me to be or Instagram, thank God." Like who I wanted to be. And for the first time in my life, I asked myself the question, who do I want to be as I step into this next chapter? And obviously it's like, I had an empty nest. I was getting a divorce. It was just me, myself, and I. And to me, at first that felt scary, but then I thought, well, that's kind of cool. I don't have to ask anyone, hey, what do you think about this? Or what do you want to eat for dinner? Or like, should we do this or this? I was like, ooh, Wendy, what do you want to do? And I sat down that same day that I had that total breakdown on the bathroom floor. I grabbed my journal and a pen and I sat on my couch and I journaled about that woman in the driver's seat. And literally so detailed. I've said literally a lot on this podcast so far because I love that word, literally. Anyways, full details about how she would think, speak, act, eat, breathe, move, everything. How does she walk into a room? What's her posture like? Everything. I thought I can design whoever I want to be in my life. And no one is going to try to deter me or knock me down. This is what I'm going to do. And it became so exciting for me. And, I think one of the reasons most New Year's resolutions fail by the end of January, I think only 9% of people keep their New Year's resolutions, is because they worry too much about the what, when, where, why, and how.
Mm-hmm.
They always forget about the who. They always forget about who they actually want to be. And it's true that when you change your identity first, your habits will follow. And we've gotten that backwards. So we got to do George Costanza. Change your identity first. Who do you want to be? Then everything just falls into place. It's so crazy. Obviously, you have to have some type of idea of what you're wanting to create. And you don't always have to have a clear picture of it. As a recovering perfectionist, people pleaser, approval seeker, codependent, I always had to have a plan. Everything. And then if I didn't have everything ready to rock, I didn't start. I was like, yeah, no, it's not good enough. So I just never started until that day. I was like, it's not gonna be perfect. I don't totally know how the hell I'm going to do this. but I'm going to put one foot in front of the other and just get started.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It's in these moments when life is really changing, whether it's
Yeah.
some of these big milestone moments, whether it's one of them or 10 of them or anything in between. I think that the core thing that's really happening is it is rattling the identity that you have been wrapped in.
Bing, bing, bing.
You
Yep.
have been something to everyone else your entire
Hmm.
existence. And when that's why, like, I think that's why they call it a midlife crisis, right? Like, I know we're rebranding it here today, but like all of a sudden everything has changed and you're trying to grab onto strings, figuring out who the hell that you are without
Yes.
all of these other things.
Right. And I think for all of us, by the time we get to our 40s and 50s, like we've checked all the boxes. We've done the things, the kids, career, marriage, house in the burbs. Like, yes, I did it. I was a good little girl and I did it all. And then you get in your 40s and 50s, and then those birdies leave the nest. Your career might be changing and might be ending. Your parents are aging, they might be passing away. Your friends might be moving away. They're starting their chapters in life, and everything changes whether you like it or not. And it's like you either decide to evolve with it or you fight it. And I can promise you, fighting it isn't going to do anything. Or you do absolutely nothing at all. That's also an option. And then life passes you by and you wake up and you're 70 and you're like, oh crap, man, I could have rocked that chapter, but I
Mm.
just
And
sat
then
back.
regret comes in.
Yeah.
That's not a good feeling at all.
Yeah.
When you're in this kind of transitional period, when you're kind of waking up, right? You're realizing that all this stuff is changing. Where do you recommend people even start when they think about who do
Mhm.
I want to be? Because that's a big question, especially if your
Yeah.
identity has been wrapped up in the career or the kids or the marriage or the this or the that or all of it. Where do you even
Yes.
start with that?
I have a great answer. And it has to do with Michelangelo. When they asked him how he carved the statue of David, he said, oh, well, I just chipped away at everything that was not him.
Mm.
So many of us, especially I think by the time you get into your 40s and 50s, we know what we don't like. We know what did not work for us. So you have to start chipping those heavy chunks of marble off of you so that you can actually get to just your own inner angel, your own statue of David, right? And we carry these things around more than we realize. And that is, it's not just, it could be toxic relationships. It could be a career that is not doing you justice. It could be thoughts, beliefs, your values. There are tons of things that you need to chip away at. And the more that you chip away the things that you don't want, you don't like, you will figure out, you will gain more clarity on who you are, who you want to be. And does it take time? Definitely. Is it worth it? Definitely. And it's never too late. Yeah.
That goes back to you're gonna do work one way or the other. You're either gonna continue to carry the weight of maintaining the
Yeah.
things that you don't really want,
Yep.
or you're gonna get honest and real with yourself about what's not fucking working,
Exactly. I know.
or
Yeah. You better keep that chisel out.
keep it out, keep it in your side pocket, friends. And it's not even always about the things that aren't working, but maybe just the things that have finished a cycle that we're still carrying.
Yes. One of the words that I've enjoyed lately in my life is season. For this season right now in my life. And a season to you could be a week, it could be a month, it could be a few months. This particular season of my life, the last few months have been insane in the membrane for me. Between I had both of my ovaries and my fallopian tubes removed, and then I was supposed to be in recovery for 6 weeks, and 2 weeks into my recovery, I got a call that my dad's dying. And I flew from Portugal to Phoenix, Arizona to try to get there in time before he died, and I did. And then recently had to end the relationship with my mother. So it has been one shitty season.
Mm.
But one thing I have learned in dealing with so many losses in my life, like many of us experience, is I'm trying to go through it in real time. I'm trying not to put it up on a shelf And I think women do that probably more so than men in some ways because we are trying to do all the things, be all things to all people, and not all things to ourselves. And we're like, I'm gonna get to that later. Because I did that. I did that plenty of times before in my life. Like, I'm too busy to deal with this. Even in my mind, I have shelves in my mind. I'm like, I'm sticking it up on a shelf. I'll get to that later. I'm like, shit. And it will always come off that damn shelf and will hit you over the head, right? So trying to deal with things in real time, facing it, at the same time, not allowing it to pull you under completely because it will if you allow it. So, and I think it makes a huge difference when you are being your true self to you and you are doing what you love. It is not easy, easier to handle losses as they come your way. Because doing this right now with you, this brings me joy. So like, okay, yes, I lost both of my parents and my dang ovaries, but like I'm running empty on estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone. But this brings me joy. And I think it's such an important thing to point out to everyone that you almost like there's that scale, right? You've got a lot of losses and negativity going on in your life. Do engage in activities that you know bring you joy. If taking a walk in the park makes you happy, go do that. Calling a friend, calling a therapist, journaling, listening to music, watching Netflix, whatever. Like, do what makes you happy, especially during the tough times, because no matter what, we will always there's no way a human being will get out of this lifetime without experience some type of loss. You just will. So you have to face it, learn to manage it, and learn from it. Oh my God, the lessons from losses, I wouldn't be sitting here if I hadn't learned the lessons from all of that.
Yeah, I'm a
Yeah.
big fan of the face it for a lot of reasons. But listen, that shelf that we all have, or sometimes it's the box under the bed or wherever we like to store that shit. We have good intentions to go back and revisit it, but you and I both know, and the gal listening right now, you also know that
Mm-hmm.
more things get added to your plate and more ideas come to you, or more things need your time, and
Yep.
that box or that shelf collects dust. And
Yeah.
the problem with that is eventually that thing wants to move. And
Yes.
if we don't deal with it, handle it, feel it, process it on our own, it's going to come out in a time, place, or situation that is far less convenient.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. In my book, I talk about the lotus and the lotus effect. And true story, the way a lotus actually grows and lives, but the lotus sits under in the cold, dark mud at night, sits under the surface of the water. And every morning the sun rises and then the lotus rises and it comes above the surface of the water and it starts to open its petals and it blooms every single morning. And it sits under the sunlight, right? Still sitting on top of the mud, right? What's really fascinating, as it's called the lotus effect, is that you will not see any drops of mud on its pretty little white or pink petals. You don't see it, but it's part of it. And every night it sinks back down into the cold, dark mud. The point is, we all have our mud, but our mud, just like with the lotus, the mud actually nourishes the lotus, it feeds it. So you learn from the mud that you experience in life. And also at the same time, you don't have to wear it. It doesn't have to be, it doesn't keep you from blooming every single day. It might be a part of you, but it's that nourishment that you learn from it. And it keeps you blooming every single day if you allow it.
Do you know that moment when you have this realization where, you know what, this ain't it anymore? I have been dodging and pivoting to be everything that everyone's wanted me to be my entire existence. I've made sure that everyone has what they need. I make sure that the schedules are on time. I'm the one that keeps everything moving ahead, but damn, where am I in all of this? Sometimes this happens after a big milestone moment. You know, something happened and you had this aha wake up. But I think more often than not, it happens in the silent moments when you're sitting with yourself. When you're sitting at a party or an event or in your living room and you're just looking around realizing, I don't know who I am. And I'd like to get to know that person, but where do I even begin? This is often the space that women are in when they join the Gutsy Collective. Think of this as like an integration space where you're upgrading your self-trust. You're deepening your confidence. You're making more powerful decisions for you. You're getting to know who you are and what it is that you actually want. And then you're making the gutsy moves to back it up. This is the space where women end up saying, you know what? I know exactly who I am, and what I want and how I want to do things is non-negotiable. If that's the kind of energy you want to lead your life with, go to lauraora.com/gutsy collective to get started today. How do you face it and continue blooming all at the same time?
Well, I think that's what's cool about human beings, that we are able to we can do both. You can continue on with your life because you have to, right? You have to like get up and you got to brush your teeth and you got to do all the things.
Things don't stop because we need to face something.
Yeah. And I mean, I even had something, it was just yesterday, something that hit me on, you know, some of the trauma that I experienced in the last few months. And I just sat here for a few minutes. I grabbed my journal. I always have my journal like ready to rock. Like, all right, let me just get this out. Just, okay, I feel better, you know? Sometimes in moments like this, you know, you might need to call a therapist more often. You might need to call a friend more often. You might need to do special things so that you can get through your day to day. Because going back to that moment on the cold bathroom floor, I didn't have that toolbox that I do now. And I think as you go through some of these experiences and you go through it consciously, that you gather those tools that you know that work for you. And what might work for me may not work for you, right? And vice versa, right? So now I have my toolbox. I know what works for me. And sometimes I might just be like, I'm overwhelmed. Then I'm like, you know what? I'm done for the day. I'm just going to go take a walk. I don't know, like just lay on the couch, whatever it is. Like you learn what refreshes you. And sometimes if you have a bad day, just be like, you know what? There's always tomorrow. I can just wake up. I can just get through this day. Tomorrow's going to be different.
I feel like there's so much self-compassion in this season.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I'm hearing through what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like just these realization moments where, oh, I'm tired. I'm going to stop. I'm overwhelmed. There's tomorrow, right?
Yes.
There's just these softer moments where it's permission to just slow down or be in the moment versus pushing and shoving and forcing yourself to continue through the way that most of us have up until this point.
Yeah. Become your own bestie. You literally you learn to coach yourself through things and ask yourself, what do I need right now? What am I feeling? What's underneath this? Sometimes if I'm not sure why I'm frustrated, why am I sad, why am I angry, I ask myself, like, all right, what's underneath this? What you got? What you got? That's what's here. Is it really anything, or is it just, you know, just something I'm feeling and it's just, I'm just cranky. Sometimes you're just cranky. Like and here's the thing, you're a human being human. Remind yourself that. And we're built with these emotions, 19 typically on average that we experience. Allow yourself to feel them. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to be sad. And just like I said before about being a perfectionist and a people pleaser, sometimes I wasn't allowed to be angry. I can't be angry because then the people around me will be upset with me and, oh my God. So give yourself permission to be pissed. Give yourself permission to be sad if you feel sad. And sometimes in life, you got to hop on that roller coaster and you're going to ride that roller coaster and you're like, it's like, but you also know that you have the right to get off of that roller coaster, take a break, chill, get back on when you feel like, okay, let me deal with these emotions. But it's okay. There's nothing wrong with you if you feel sad or angry or jealous or grief. It's part of who we are as humans.
Yeah, absolutely. I just had a moment like this literally just last night. We were at a family gathering yesterday, which was lovely. No
Mhm.
issues by any means. But as the day was progressing, I could feel myself closing off, and
Yeah.
nothing happened. There was no situation, but I was like, what is going on? Part of it was I was battling a migraine in the background. So
Mm.
that always gets my attention a little bit differently, right? But as we were
Yeah.
driving home and we got home, I was like, man, I just feel really off. Like
Yeah.
this is not my neutral state. And I think noticing like what your neutral state is, like what just comes naturally to you, and when we're off of that kind of center, and I did
Mm.
exactly what you were just talking about. I was like, what's okay, what's
Mm.
going on here? And not making it mean anything, not judging myself, not being like, oh God, now we're gonna cry. I could feel it, right? I could feel the pressure behind my eyes. I'm like,
Yeah.
I feel like I need a good cry. I don't really know why, but I do. And I started talking to my husband, and the
Mm.
words just started coming out, and we've had a lot of change this month, and our kid is getting ready
Mm.
to graduate, and I lost my aunt earlier this month, and this, I swear to you
Oh.
that this has been the busiest month of my life. And I was just carrying a lot of feelings, I've been
Yeah.
on the go a lot, and and I was just feeling it, and the one tear came down the one cheek, and then the 400 followed it, and I had a really good cry, and I talked it out
Ah.
loud, and I moved the energy, and guess what? I was totally fine after that. I didn't feel
Yeah.
the pressure anymore. I didn't feel confused or off kilter. In fact, we laid on the couch, we put on Friends, and I passed out. Like my body was like, okay, now we can rest. And
Yeah.
it's just that kind of stuff where when we get curious about what we're feeling instead of trying to put it into a box or define it, like
Yeah.
that to me is what it feels like to face it, because it's just like, okay, something is off. Instead of packing this away, let's
Yep.
just feel this out, because pretty quickly I felt a lot better.
I just came up with this. Someone write this down in this moment. You had a triple A moment. Awareness, acceptance, allowance. So awareness, you had the awareness of it. Like this is
Yeah.
what's happening right now. I'm upset. My body hurts. And the acceptance of what is. Yeah, you've had a lot going on in the last few weeks, and just accepting it and then allowing yourself to feel it. Just get it out. Have a good cry. Sometimes a good cry. But unfortunately, right, I always seem to want to have a good cry when I have a migraine coming on. No, I kid you
Yeah.
not. I'm like, God dang it, then it makes it worse.
Yeah, it's all intertwined in there, but it's just permission to
Yeah.
just do and feel and be.
Yep.
I think that's what all of this conversation is about, is permission to go for it,
Yeah.
no matter what that is, because this midlife crisis, you know let's reframe that. What's your take on the phrase midlife crisis, and how you're reframing what this looks like?
Yeah. Midlife is not a crisis, it's a catalyst. Damn it. It's a catalyst. I just added
Catalyst,
the damn it.
comma, damn it. I like that because it gives it so much more punch.
It's a launching pad, right? Because here's the thing, at this point, just like we were talking about earlier, we know what we liked and what we did not like, and you're still young enough to do something about it. This is such a perfect time, a perfect chapter, a perfect season to actually be who you want to be, do the things that you want to do, and most importantly, have fun with all of it.
Fun. That's a
Fun,
big
fun, 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 fun.
that's a
Gotta have
big one. I
fun.
mean, you said that in the early part of this episode. You're like, I don't remember because I'm just having so much fun,
Just I know.
which is awesome. And I think a state that so many women are starving for.
Yeah. But we have so many things to be grateful for now, though, too. I mean, I don't know about your feed, but it's menopause rama on my feed.
Yes.
I'm like, are you trying to
I'm in the perimenopause threads. Yep, that's my state.
the HRT, all of it? But we have, I mean, we can just grab our phones and be educated on so many different things. But you also have to trust yourself. You have to trust your gut, go with what is good for you. So, yes, I think that we all, we could all ask Claude or Chat GPT what we should do next. But we all have our inner Claude, if you will, and our inner Chat GPT to actually ask those questions. What should I be doing right now? Like what feels good to me? And sometimes we don't always get the answers, but right when we want them, but they'll pop up. I mean, I had two crazy synchronicities yesterday, and I was like, okay, all right. Well, again, I didn't even really ask for them, but they just came about in a very indirect way. Could be like meeting someone, or you see a sign or something wild, and you'll, yes, your inner Claude will speak to you in other ways.
Yeah, and it's so important now more than ever to listen to it and to trust it. To
Yeah,
trust it, especially when you don't have it all figured out, especially when the roadmap is not laid in front of you. Like
no.
it doesn't have to be for you to lean into it.
Well, I mean, even for me, I didn't know how to drive an RV. I didn't know how to start a podcast. I didn't know how to write a book. I didn't know how to be a keynote speaker. I didn't know how to do all the things. But I was like, I'm just gonna give it a shot. Like, give yourself permission to be messy. It's totally okay. I mean, and for me, going back, it's like it took me 2 years to rebuild, to chip away at that mound of debt, chip away at that all that heavy marble I was carrying around, to recover from the chronic illness, to save up for that RV. But eventually, I got to take off in that RV across the country, and I will never ever, I think I'll cry, ever forget that moment because it was the moment where I felt like me. Like I actually was like, all right, girl, this is for you. Like
Mm.
this one's for you. And having been a woman that had put herself on the back burner for decades and like, oh, I'll get to me later. I'll get to my dreams later. I'll get to do the things I want to do later. And now it was like, no, we're doing it. Yeah, pedal to the metal, bitches.
Oh, I love such a
Literally.
sentimental moment followed by hell yeah.
We gotta throw out one more. Literally.
Literally. Yeah, I could see and feel that moment with you.
Oh,
And I appreciate you sharing that because I can also see and remember that girl that was sitting or standing, imagining the girl behind the driver's
yes.
seat.
Yeah, I know. It was actually her. I was like, I got the keys. I'm starting the ignition. I'm the woman I imagined. That's what I was most. I still have goosebumps. That's what I was most excited about. I mean, yeah, the RV's freaking awesome, but I was like, look at me. I did it. I worked my ass off for 2 years, and I freaking did it.
Mm. When you can show yourself that you can show up for yourself,
I know.
listen, that's top tier emotion right there.
Yeah. Interesting story behind that, which really put the, no pun intended, wheels in motion for me in that RV. Um, I can remember I had this moment sitting on top of a picnic table in Malibu Beach RV park overlooking the ocean. And my greatest fear had been always been since a child, because I was abandoned as a child. I always had this fear of being abandoned,
Mm.
which is why I became the people pleaser, perfectionist, codependent, approval seeker, trying to do all the right things for everyone so that no one would leave me. I don't want anyone to abandon me. So I got to be a good little girl so nobody abandons me. I realized that moment. I was like, shit. I became my greatest fear because the person I was abandoning was myself. I was like, fuck. And then looking like a crazy person, sitting on top of that picnic table in Malibu, which is probably not that crazy over there. I had A little chit chat with little Wendy, little 9-year-old Wendy. And I said, girl, you can relax. You can play. I got this shit. And because for decades, I just was always so nervous and scared that I wasn't going to be good enough. And really, it was like, no, this is my time. I'm not going to abandon myself or little Wendy ever again. Never.
Hmm. Girl, you and I could have a whole other conversation about that
Yeah.
because copy and paste. That's been my story. That's been my
Yep.
experience. That was also my wake up moment when I was like, I've been so worried about other people leaving me that I didn't realize that I left myself.
Yes.
And then it's like, fuck, there's some work to do under there. But
I know.
the other thing that I realized was when I show up for myself and when I have myself and when I love myself, people can come and go and it doesn't rock me anymore. You know, it doesn't mean I don't get bummed out, right? Like that I
Yep.
have human emotion, but it doesn't rock me completely to my core
Yes.
and stop my life like it used to.
Nor do you question, okay, oh, did I do something wrong? Did I say something wrong? Oh, I'm not worthy. I must not be good enough. No.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, bye, Felicia.
Yeah. I'm like, if I did my comeback for myself when I do start to poke in that hole again, because I do from time to time, is if I did something wrong, they would tell me.
Yeah,
And if they're not going to tell me, do I want to be in a relationship with somebody that doesn't want to have hard conversations?
exactly. I know. Yeah, and you know what? Yes, we are so much wiser than we give ourselves credit.
Yeah.
And like we learn from all of those moments. And I would have to say too, it's like when you realize you're absorbing this massive life lesson, whatever that lesson is in that moment, ride that freaking wave. Like really open it up more. Like, ooh, what else is there to learn about this? And sometimes those layers, like I'm going through that right now in my life, right? And I've got more layers kind of coming off. And I'm like, ooh, okay, wow. It just and it's interesting because it's like you do get closer and closer to your true self. There's that quote from I think it's Gandhi that what is it? Happiness is when what you think, what you say, and what you do are in harmony.
Mm,
When those are all aligned, that's happiness.
mm.
Yeah.
And it's in your fingertips. It's right in
Yeah.
front of you. So
Yeah.
cool. Wendy, you are brilliant and fantastic. Where can everybody find and connect with you, my friend?
Thank you so much. And I can't wait till you're on my podcast, girl. We're gonna have
Let's
so
do it.
much fun. WendyValentine.com. That's the main hub. The Midlife Makeover Show is wherever you listen to podcasts. And the book, Women Waking Up, bum, 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 is wherever books are sold. And on my website, there's actually over $500 in bonuses that come with the book.
Ooh,
So
fantastic.
I know, cool stuff.
We'll link that below to make it super easy so you can go get
Yeah.
Wendy's book and grab onto those bonuses as well. Wendy, I gotta know, what does gutsy mean to you, my friend?
So before I came on to today's show, I did look up the definition of gutsy. And interesting, and I don't know if you know this, back in the 1800s, early 1800s, gutsy actually meant greedy. And it meant like you had a big old gut, a big stomach. You were greedy for more, you were hungry. And then later on, in the late 1800s, gutsy actually meant that you're courageous and that you're resilient and that you had the guts to go after what you wanted. And then now the modern term is just like what you teach here on this podcast. It is being bold and brave. So, yes, for me, Wendy Valentine, in this modern era, I think gutsy means to follow your gut and to listen to that inner chat GPT and not the noise of the naysayers or society or social media or your own inner critic, like shutting that noise down, listening to your gut and trusting your gut and just being whoever the hell you want to be.
Look, you heard Wendy and I talk about this for the last 40 minutes. Reinvention is a choice. It's when you realize that, you know what, this is not working anymore, or I'm just simply ready for something new, and trusting that. You don't have to have all the answers to take your next move. You don't even need a perfectly curated plan. You just have to be willing to admit to yourself that you're done and or you're ready, and then start making the moves that back it up. That's what we're doing inside the Gutsy Collective. Women just like you that are taking control back and saying, you know what, this chapter belongs to me. lauraora.com/Gutsy Collective. That is the place to get more information and to get started. And if you've got some questions, come send me a message. I'm on all the social platforms. My handle is @thatlauraora. And as always, until I see you next time, stay gutsy.